Okay, welcome back to Midpoints Part 2. This is Chapter 1, Section 3. You need your textbook, you need your notebook. You should be taking notes, pausing, rewinding, any other good skills we might have talked about. We are on page 22. We're going to actually use the midpoint formula now that we have a good idea of what the midpoint is. Okay, so let's turn to page 22 in your textbook. Okay. I do want you to pause. I want you to copy down the core concept, including the drawing of the first quadrant of a XY coordinate, Cartesian coordinate system. But I wrote down the midpoint formula because I'm going to be using it as I go over numbers 5 and 7, and you're going to do numbers 6 and 8. Okay. So number 5 at the bottom of page 22. We know that the endpoints of AB, line segment AB, are A as 1, 2, and B as 7, 8. Okay, so real quick, let's just get a little idea of this. It is always a good idea to visualize what we're doing. So we know that A is at 1, 2. Okay, and then B is at 7, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 7, 8, so 2, 4, 6, 8. So B is at 7, 8. And just to confirm, it says that we need to find the coordinates of the midpoint, which is going to be somewhere halfway between A and, well, sorry, it's going to be exactly halfway between A and B, except figure not drawn to scale because I don't know what the coordinates are. Now, something that they don't really say in the book, but I think it's something that you should say, instead of always saying x1 plus x2 all over 2 and y1 plus y2 all over 2, I want you to say it's the average of the x's and the average of the y's, the average of the x's. So let's take the average of the x's. There's 2 x's. So we add them up and divide by 2. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And it's the average of the y's. There's 2 y's, so we add them up. 2 plus 8 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So it looks like, and I was just estimating, but okay, so I was a little bit off. Again, figure not drawn to scale at all, but the midpoint M is 4, 5. Average of the x's, average of the y's. Add up the x's, divide by 2. Add up the y's, divide by 2. That's how we do it. All right, so I did number 5, which means right now you are going to do number 6. Answer it in the Ed puzzle, and we'll be back for number 7. All right, so now here we know that there's a midpoint of TU at 2, 4. We know that there's one endpoint of T at 1, 1, and now they're telling us that we need to find out what is U, the other endpoint. So again, let's get a nice visual representation of this because it definitely helps to visualize. T is at 1, 1. M is at 2, 4. Okay, so that means that there is another point somewhere around here for U. And let me make sure that looks like a U. So at this stage, try not to have a pun right here, we know that M is in the middle of TU. So we could do the formula, and I'll show you in a second. But we could also figure out, all right, let's look at the x's for T and M. To get from 1 to 2, I had to go up 1. So I'm going to have to go up another 1 to get to 3. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So that means 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay. Now, technically, I should have said right 1. 1 to 2 is right 1, so go right 1 more, so 3. Remember, figure not drawn to scale, not a great example because I didn't know what to visualize yet. I just know I'm looking for a point somewhere out here with bigger numbers, bigger than 2 and bigger than 4. Okay, now 1 to 4, so to go up, we go from 1 to 4, we're going up 3, so 4 plus 3 is 7. So I'm guessing that my endpoint U is at 3, 7. So I'd like you to use that logic because I think it's simpler than what I'm about to show you, but I'm still going to show you. Now pause, rewind, hear it again. All right, even with my mistake of saying up from 1 to 2 instead of right from 1 to 2 for the x's, you can still re-listen to it and hear my mistakes. But let's actually use the formulas. So the midpoint of the x's is equal to this. Okay, so the midpoint of the x's is 2. Now that's equal to 1 plus something. Ooh, what variable do I want to use? I'm going to use a all over 2, right? It's equal to x1 plus x2, which I don't know, divided by 2. So if we're solving here, we could do 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, so now I know that my x value is going to be 3. Likewise, the midpoint of the y's, which is 4, is going to be the y1, which is 1, plus y2, which we actually didn't know when we started this problem, all over 2. So the midpoint of the y's is 4. Now that's equal to the first y plus the other y that we don't know, I'm going to call it b, all over 2. So to solve this, we'll do 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 minus 1 is 7. Okay, so as we can see, I now get a coordinate for x and y of my other endpoint. So we can actually use the formulas to do that, or we can use some logic. And you'll have to rewind to get to that logic. Okay, so the answer is this. The other endpoint is 3, 7. And now that we figured out the other endpoint, go ahead and practice number 8 and answer that in the Ed puzzle. Don't forget, after you answer number 8, you need to get to the end of the video for your scores to go into Schoology. So you actually have to watch till the very end.